It's no secret that chameleon keeping can definitely get expensive, so I'm going to share with you guys some tips and tricks for keeping a chameleon on a budget. So without further ado, let's get into the video. One of the biggest expenses with setting up a chameleon is the enclosure itself. So a great way to save costs would be to actually build the enclosure yourself. Now, I have obviously purchased all of my enclosures, and I'm not a very handy person, so I'm not the best person to give you advice on how to build an enclosure, but I've definitely seen other people do it for under $100, which is a total steal. Plus, you are not limited by the dimensions of the enclosure. You can make it as big as you want. So I would suggest that you go to chameleonforums.com and just search build threads on there, or enclosure build, something along those lines, and you'll see tons and tons of different people who have gone step by step on how they built their enclosures, including supplies, treating the wood, screen materials, etc. And you have an opportunity to maybe even put your own posts on there. You can get collaboration and different ideas between different keepers and their own experiences, so that would be my suggestion. Another thing you can do to cut costs is to mist your chameleon by hand instead of purchasing an automatic misting system, which is super nice. Don't get me wrong, a very nice purchase, but definitely a luxury and not a necessity. Instead, you can manually mist your chameleon. You'll use the same durations, but instead of using an automatic misting system, you can just use a spray bottle that you've picked up from the dollar store. Or you can get one of those pump misters, you know, that have the little thingies on them. You can use one of those and mist down your chameleon enclosure that way. That'll save you definitely a little bit of cost. A recurring cost with chameleons is their bugs, their food, right? That's something that they're constantly eating and we're constantly having to supply for them. So a way to cut costs instead of purchasing your bugs all the time is to breed your own bugs. I personally don't breed my bugs. I'm not comfortable with having hundreds, if not thousands, of bugs and dealing with the intricacies of breeding. I am more than happy to pay the premium to purchase the bugs. So again, I'm not the best person to offer advice on how to breed bugs, but there's tons of resources available online that will teach you how to do it. I know from hearing from other keepers that breeding dubia roaches is pretty straightforward and simple to do, so that may be something that you'll want to consider doing. Now, if you don't want to go the full, route of breeding your own bugs, what you could do, instead of purchasing your bugs from Petco or PetSmart, which definitely charge a premium for their bugs, you could consider using other vendors that are going to have more cost-effective options for your chameleons. And you could buy your bugs in bulk. So instead of having to go back and forth to the store all the time, maybe you're able to purchase, 100 roaches at a time or 24 hornworms at a time. That way you're not having to pay the extra premiums for going in person. With chameleon keeping comes a lot of different gadgets, and a lot of these are sold by reptile companies, which is great. However, you're typically paying extra just because it has a reptile name on it. So instead of doing that, what you could do is purchase things like your temperature gun from like Home Depot or Walmart instead of going with the reptile branded product. Same with your outlet timers, same with your drippers, same with your heat bulbs. So instead of buying the reptile branded heat bulbs, I actually purchased mine from Home Depot. So just find the correct wattage that will produce the right temperatures for your chameleon and give you the correct gradient. And as long as it's produced in a white light, then you can definitely use that for your chameleon. So that is an excellent way to save costs and just get a little bit creative on the different products and gadgets that you're buying for your chameleon and see maybe if there's a non-reptile branded one that will be a little bit cheaper. Now, looking towards the inside of the enclosure, there's definitely some ways that we can cut costs there. First one is being to propagate your plants, which is when you cut a piece of a plant off, put in some water, it grows some roots, and you're actually able to make a separate plant using a clipping of a different plant. Propagating your plants definitely takes time, but you're only paying for that one plant, and you can make like as many as you want off of it. So that could be an option. Also looking at the branches, instead of purchasing branches or vines, what I do is use natural branches from outside that are sanitized and washed and are safe for your chameleon, and that's what I use inside my enclosures. Just make sure it's not a sap producing tree or a pine tree or anything that could be harmful for your chameleon, and you'll be good to go. Keeping chameleons outside can also help save some costs, but I'm mindful that not everywhere is suitable for a chameleon outside. California and Florida are definitely the most popular locations to be keeping chameleons outside and would definitely help save some costs, but that's not an option for you, like, no worries. I just wanted to make sure I threw it out there. Also, be sure to shop the sales. I myself offer lots of different discounts for different companies and different products, all of which will be linked down below in the description box. You can also shop the sales, buy in bulk. I'm constantly looking at different places when their UVB bulbs go on sale, because I know I'm going to have to replace those. Same with heat bulbs, things that you know are recurring costs that you can kind of buy in bulk or buy when are on sale. I would definitely take advantage of that. Some things that you should not cut corners on would be your supplements and your UVB bulbs. Those things are must-haves and you have to do them correctly, so make sure you're buying high-quality products and you're replacing them as needed and you're not skimping out on your UVB or supplements. Also, another thing you don't want to cut corners on is the cost of the actual Chameleon. Now, I know the super cheap Chameleon is very, very tempting, but odds are you get what you pay for. So the higher the price, while does not necessarily mean higher quality, there's definitely a correlation. And so make sure that you're investing in a good quality, healthy animal that will be set up for success versus cutting corners and buying what may be considered a cheaper Chameleon, but maybe won't be healthy long term, or you're gonna have to be spending vet bills on it, things like that. So that's one thing you're not gonna wanna cut corners on cost. So you guys have it. Those are my budget saving tips and tricks when it comes to chameleon keeping, but I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know down in the comments some different things that you've done to help save costs. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Leave any questions or comments down below. Feel free to subscribe so you know when I post a new video. You can follow Neptune and all my chameleons on social media at Neptune the Chameleon. Feel free to follow me on TikTok and Instagram for daily reels and videos full of tips and tricks. Also down below you can find all of my discount links, my merch store, Patreon, video consulting, all that good stuff listed down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye! With Chameleon, I heard a noise. Sweet!